Hello and welcome to my own workshop and a first update or insight into the rebuilding of Topley Dale. Now, many of you will remember Topley Dale as a 1960s era steam period layout, and it was 16 foot long, it was 10 foot wide. We had the diversion route, we had the original station which was built in 2012, and many adaptations along the way. I've since moved around, come to a new workshop, and well, as you can see, even in this shot, things are already starting to change for Topley Dale. Now, the first and most distinctive change you'll see is the rolling stock. So no longer is it 1960s theme in terms of stock, we've gone for a modern traction theme on it instead. That's a bit of a change in style of modelling that I'm after at the moment. And then also the layout is a different shape and well, there's bits missing as well from what you last saw at Topley Dale. So to cut a long story short, the layout's changed a lot over the last 18 months or so. It's been in storage for a long time. Some parts had to be dismantled completely. Other parts just were not quite right for what I wanted to do next. But what I did have is a whole load of baseboards and track work which I could recycle and turn into a brand new layout. And that's what you're starting to see come together around me here now. So the first big change, it's longer and it's wider. So it's now 18 feet long and it's 13 feet wide from the front, just next to the signals there, right across to the back of the storage yard. But that's not the end of the plan for the width. There's a plan for making it slightly wider as well, but I'll come to that in a moment. Next, the baseboard frames are all new across the back. When I say new, actually they're reclaimed from the original layout, but it does mean that the whole scene across this end and also going around the back into the storage yard has completely changed as well. Now, one of the good things about that is I now have a full length 18-foot storage yard running from one end of the layout right down to the other end of the layout as well. That'll be 10 tracks wide across there. But you'll be pleased to know there's going to be a few more routes you can take around this layout as well. A bit of imagination required for this next part. We've got the double track main line that's going to run the top deck, but it's also going to then have a diversion route coming across behind me, but that will be 2.5 foot wide in front of the storage yard that's behind me here. And that will have a large quarry scene in it. It's going to have the double track main line going down a gradient across behind me, then that will drop down underneath this baseboard here. Then it's going to roll round underneath there. It'll come across in front of the main boards that are in front of me here, run right the way around the length of the layout and go to a second level storage yard below the 10 track one here. That'll offer at least another 8 tracks underneath there. So that'll be 18 tracks of storage yard space for the layout over 2 levels. Then that will climb back round underneath, all the way back around the front and rejoin at a double junction just by Norton Bridge signal box on my left and your right here. Sounds complicated, right? I've got another complication I'd like to add into it, but I haven't quite finished the designs for it. But the idea is essentially to put a third route around the layout as well, so that where the line that's dropped down to here, it'll go around the front in front of the Scenic boards here. It'll then split again over on the far side, and then it'll come round and pass behind the quarry seam as part of the low level quarry seam, which will be 20 centimetres below the main line level. And then it'll go into a tunnel at the far end and join back into the, with a double junction again, but underneath here to join the other line that's coming back around the top. Terribly complicated. It'll look great if it all happens, but there's a long way to go before you even get close to doing all those junctions. So more importantly, let's talk about what I've actually done so far. So baseboards have all been put back together again. I've changed the height a little bit, so it's still quite a high layout off the ground. It's 1.2 meters off the ground, but just lowered it a little bit just for a little bit more comfort in terms of working height. There are different baseboard frame arrangements, and there's then the bigger storage yard, but then there's lots of new features going to this as well. So at the moment it looks like a bit of a hodgepodge, and that's because we've got the new bits come together with the old bits that need to be taken away, and new bits that are going to go in to make it all look nice again. So do bear with me whilst it's looking like a little bit of a scenic mess around the layout. So let's start at the diesel depot side. So this is a brand new scene that's being built for Topley Dale. It might not be called Topley Dale in the long run, but we'll see where we get with that. So this, you'll recognise some of the buildings from the Key Model World shop. So we've got the 4-road depot building with the office block at the end of it. Next to that, we've got Norton Bridge signal box. Beyond that, we've got some catenary portals, little hint as to what's coming for the future there. And then behind that, I've got the starting of a wall made with our new Larson shuttering, which is being produced from 3D printed parts by PGM models for the Key Model World shop. That's an entirely new scene coming together through there. I'm figuring out track plans at the moment and how it's actually going to connect into the original track formation for the layout as well. Now, actually, when I finish this, it will have concrete sleeper track through all the visible scenic area. So at the moment, some of the track that's been laid is temporary whilst I just get some trains running. You know, classic thing, always want to have some trains running. And then it's going to lead into the original station scene, but the original station scene is, well, it's going, don't like it anymore, got a lot of problems with it. So I've started to take that out already, but all the rest of the original platforms and all the scenery around those platforms is all going as well. That's going to be trashed, got rid of. Brand new platforms are going to go in, and they'll be much better in terms of meeting the needs for curve radius and things like that. Next, we come to this little area in front of me here, which is the old goods yard for Topley Dale, and it's been the background of many scenes in many videos and many photographs as well. This is going to, you may have guessed already, this is going to be an extension of the diesel depot. So this will be the stabling point here, probably got some fueling points as well. But like I say, goods yards, goods sheds going, loading the docks going, but I'll keep all the track arrangement exactly as it is here. So I'm quite happy with the wooden sleeper track inside the depot area. It'd probably be older track. It's going to get weathered a bit more as well, a few more weeds and things around to really bring that to life as well. Then, after the diesel depot, well actually opposite the diesel depot, there's a really quite a nice Midland signal box there, but it's probably a little bit out of period for what I'm looking for at the moment. So that's going to get resited somewhere else in the layout. Moving along, we come to a brand new scene, which some of you may have seen on our stand at the Worley National Model Railway Exhibition in November 2023. This is the new river scene, which is coming together. So this is a very sort of early stages of this. I've got a lot of planning and pieces coming together in terms of how I'm going to do the multi-track bridges. But essentially you're going to have 4 tracks coming across 2 bridge decks over the top of a deep set river, which has got all the Larsen piling again, so again from the Key Model World shop in there. That's lining either side of the riverbed, and I'm working on some new pavement sections as well with Phil from PGM Models to finish that area off as well at the moment. There's a couple of tweaks maybe to finish that off, and some scenery, but you can see where it's going, you get the idea. Moving on from there, you're back to the original 3-arch bridge, which was, again, another popular scene as part of Topley Dale. My intention is to flatten that area once again, but there will be a bridge there, but something more modern and more in keeping with the kind of, more of a town kind of sense of scene around this layout, rather than the countryside setting of the original Topley Dale layout. Moving on from there, you'll come back to that original double junction. That's staying where it is, apart from the tracks can be relayed with concrete sleeper track. There'll then be a new signal box going in there. There's a plan for level crossing. So that'll use our new GNR signal box kit from the Key Model World shop. So that'll give another nice little bit of a nod to the old railway, but something that's still connected with the real modern railway as well. Also want to upgrade all the signalling on this as well. Semaphores are going, colour lights are coming in, apart from on the diversion route, which I plan to have with semaphore signals instead. Moving on from there, you'll come round to what is going to become the end of the Scenic section for the top deck, which is coming through one of the GNR tunnel portal kits, which you have from the Key Model World shop. No guess as to where the product's coming from here. And then that will give the top deck the end of its Scenic section, where it can then run round through the 10-track main storage yard, 18 foot of it at the back, and then come back round on the level back past the diesel depot. That's pretty much where we're at the moment. So I've got one circuit is currently running, which means I've got two tracks at the back for storage yards. I've got about 5 trains on at any one time at the moment. There's lots of little electrical gremlins that I'm working through to solve for the layout and to make it all run a bit better. There's lots of track modifications to do. There's lots of planning going off. So it does look like a little bit of a mess at the moment, but there's a plan. We'll leave it there, there's a plan. I'm also excited to get started on building a new diversion route as well. I've got a vision in my mind of how that's all going to come together. And if it looks like what it looks like in here, when it comes out in the real world, it's going to look fantastic. But wait and see. You never know. I might not meet the criteria for that. The final thing to mention is that we're going to be doing lots of updates on Topley Dale's rebuild, and at some point I should come up with a new name for it as well. But they'll be coming up in Hornby Magazine in the staff project section, and also on keymodelworld.com as well, where you'll be able to find these videos. So much more about the layout, find out what we're doing, how we're joining all these products together as well, and creating, hope, some really attractive scenes that will inspire you to build your layout as well. I hope you enjoyed this introduction to the rebuild of Topley Dale. Thank you for watching today, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time when I've done a little bit more to the layout. Bye for now.